Okay guys, welcome back to Babbling Brook Homestead. I'm here this morning in my PJs to show you a little bit about how I milk my goats. I am a pretty new to goat person, so this is kind of what I've found works for me so far. There's still more equipment I want to get. I need an actual milking bucket. Right now I use something else, but I only have one goat to milk, meet Eleanor. But so the time between me milking into the bucket and then going into the house to get strained and put in a proper container is very minimal. So at the moment I don't really feel like it makes a big difference, but that is a goal, is to get more equipment. So I wanted to show you a little bit. So this is the milking stand my husband built. It's wide enough that I can just sit right on here with her instead of being on a separate seat because I'm new to it, so I'm not the best at it. And then also, she's pretty good about it. When I first got her, it was a learning experience for her, being in a new place and me being new to doing it all. So, but then next year I have 3 full first fresheners that will be new experience to them. I do bring my other ones on this milking stand, let them eat sometimes, not every day yet. As I get closer to being bred and everything, they'll get more often. I just kind of want them to get comfortable with it, get comfortable with being handled on their bellies and their teats. It'll just help the process in general. But and then, so we have a little, it's hard to see here, green feeder bucket there, and then her neck holder, I don't know what the proper name for it is, but the feed we got here, it's just a goat mix feed, and then I also mix alfalfa pellets in it. I kind of have this in layers because she's kind of picky about it, but so I always give this to her. She has a little bit in there while I was prepping the camera, but I give her pretty much a full scoop. She doesn't usually eat it all, but sometimes at the beginning we used the whole thing. Hi Callie, this is Callie, one of the barn cats. It took her eating this whole thing before I would get to actually getting it all. So I just give her a whole scoop. Okay, the next step I take, I have a wet cloth just to wipe off her udders, get any of the dirt and debris off. Why are you cats all up here? So I just clean off her teats. And her udder around it. The cats never get up here. I don't know if they're here. Okay, so that's the one that was wet. Now I will go through with a dry one. Make sure she's nice and dry. And then I have a small little cup. It's just anything laying around pretty much. I keep it for putting the first few squirts in. I usually do about 5 squirts per side, per teat. And then the cats will get that later. For anybody who's new to goats, as I was very shortly ago, and I'm still pretty new to goats, I learned that you do not milk like you do with cows, so you don't like squeeze and pull. You squeeze with your index and thumb finger, excuse me, squeeze at the top, then kind of use a rolling motion with your others, and release and let it fill back up. What are you doing? So that's what we do. This is the container I've been using. It fits well under her. She's a full alpine, so she's a little bit taller breed. And then you just squeeze and pour. I said, the cats are never up here. I don't know why they're being so obnoxious this morning. So when I first got her, I will admit, I was very awkward with this. She was awkward with it. I one-hand milk her, like do one side at a time, because she was still picking up her feet a lot. She wasn't kicking out, but she would pick it up and get right into the milk bucket and stuff like that. But we've gotten used to each other, and now I can double milk her. When I first got her, she had 2 bucklings on her. I've since sold them. One I sold as a bottle baby shortly after I got her, and the other one, we weren't sure if we were going to keep her or not. He was very friendly. That was Frappe. I'm sure you saw him in my other video. We did decide to go ahead and rehome him. It was good. He got rehomed to a home to use him as a buck, which is great because his lines are very good. But and he's super friendly, which is a great quality to have in a buck, in a breeding buck. But we decided if we were going to keep a male to use to weather and have as a companion for our buck, that I would just rather keep one that was born and raised here. We'll just be a little bit more attached. So we'll wait and see what comes next season. We'll have 4 does being bred this fall for spring babies. Okay, so I milked out what I could get out of her now. Now what I do, I'll massage the back of her udder for 10 to 15 seconds, and then I kind of nudge the front of her udders, and it stimulates more letdown, and then she'll produce more. And usually I have to do that about 3 times before I pretty much stop getting much of anything. Scoot you over, girl. Now, while we're waiting on her milk to let down a little bit, I usually give her some pets to make sure she realizes how comfortable it could be here, because I wouldn't like to be poked and prodded at. Although I do it much more gentle than her buckling did, I can tell you that. Okay, so now, as you can see, I get more milk out of her after that. She was giving me about a half a gallon morning and evening, so about a gallon a day. The last few days it's been a little bit less, but we've had a sudden rise in heat. It was in like the 70s and everything, and the last couple days it's been in the 90s. So I think part of it is just her not getting enough in, like it's just too hot for her to produce as much. She's not getting all the water intake that she would need in the extreme heat. But after today, it's supposed to cool back down. Hey, girl, Eleanor. She's just kind of hanging out. So then I will let her finish her feed. She likes to go in. I scoop it back out of here and let her finish eating in her stall because she just kind of prefers it. I don't like to leave her tied up here too long, but if I go ahead and let her loose, then she gets off the stand and starts wandering around. So. I'll do this one more time. Get out of here. Weirdo. overabundance of milk recently. It's too hot to do much in the house with the milk, so get off. So I haven't been doing much, so it was just kind of building up in there, and so I gave the cats some, and they seem to have liked it. Special treat for them, but right now they're kind of being annoying. Come here, girl. Okay. See, that time I didn't get very much out of the last little bit. I don't like to leave my bucket under there for newbies. I don't leave my bucket under there because she'll knock it over or stick her foot in it. See, is there anything left coming out? Okay, so I've got all I got. This is close to what, so there's some foam on the top here, just from squirting it in. But we got about this much milk this morning, which isn't bad for, get down, for how hot it's been. Like I said, she's been a little bit lower the last couple of days. So this is actually not too bad. We usually, so this is her actual milk line. We usually get right about up here to pretty much like the top of where the foam is, or a little bit higher in actual milk, and then foam on top of that. So it's not too bad. But you know what? We haven't bought milk in months. We got her only, I don't know, a couple months ago. And as I was learning the milking process and everything, we were still buying milk on the side. But, we haven't actually bought like milk from the store in a while. Okay, I'm back in the house. I have my goat's milk and my container, my strainer. The very most important thing that I've learned with goat's milk is the longer it sits warm, the more of a goaty taste it gets. Since I learned this before even starting to milk my goats, I've been very quick to get my milk on in the fridge. I've never had an issue with it smelling goaty. There was one container that I had that after a little bit it smelled funky, and I'm not sure if it was just the container might not have been sealed all the way. The kids get in there and you know, they'll pour milk and maybe they didn't get it quite airtight. I don't know. The milk didn't sit out though. There might have been something stuck in the glass that it wasn't, you know, we didn't notice, and it just gave it, you know, then bacteria started to breed. I'm not sure, but that was the only time in all this time that I've had any milk that tasted or smelled funky. So get it in the cold as quick as possible. Next year's gonna be a learning curve for me because I'll be milking more than one. So I'll have to, I think I might put a cooler outside with some ice. We have an ice maker in the fridge and well water, so it's not a big deal to go through ice pretty quick. But I might keep a little cooler with a container in it that as I milk one, I can pour it right in there to cool it down pretty quick. And then as I continue to milk each goat, I think that's kind of where I'm gonna head to. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But this is the straining system I have right now. Again, I don't have all my supplies that eventually I will get to. This works for us right now. These are half-gallon, like mason jar, ball jars that I use to store them in the fridge. I have this canning funnel that fits right in there perfect. I was using a little handle strainer with a couple paper coffee filters. And it would take a while, but it worked. But I did find one of these coffee filters, the reusable ones. I just wash it in between each time as I do the strainer. And it seems to work good. It collects a lot of hair. It collects any dirt that's been in there. And I still haven't tasted anything different with the milk. So until I get the proper system, this seems to be working for me. And it goes a lot faster with this one. So I literally just take the raw milk right into the strainer, right into the bucket, into the jar, and pour it in, and it straightens it out. Now, I will say, if the goat puts your foot in the bucket, I won't use it. I'll give it straight to the cats. I don't know if other people filter it more or anything like that. It's not worth the bacteria risk to me or my family to risk not, I just give it to the cats. Cats love it. We have plenty. Like I said, we were getting about a half gallon AM and PM now that the bucklings are off of her. Like I said, this is a half gallon jar. It's a good bit full, so we were getting pretty full, full. So there's a little bit of a difference, but like I said, it's hot. Even though they're provided plenty of fresh water, that doesn't mean they're drinking it all. So I rinse this out right away just in case, and then I will wash it with soap and water. But I just rinse it out real quick to get everything out. Then I have my lid, my screw-on cap, and that's how I store it in the fridge. I do have a container. Hold on one second. My lovely stepmama got this for me. It holds, I don't know, I think about a quarter of a gallon maybe. I'm not really sure, but I just fill this with the milk as we rotate it out. But this actually has a little lid on it, but the spout is easier to pour, especially for the kids. But when you pour it on your cereal or your milk, it's just easier than having the whole big jar to mess with. But this, I absolutely love this thing. It has worked wonders. So something to make it easier to pour with, I definitely suggest getting. You can get gallon freezer bag, well, any size freezer bag. We use gallons, and freeze the milk for later use. I've learned recently that if you freeze into ice cube trays, it's easier when you have to like make soap and lotions and stuff like that. So I started storing some like that because I have about 7, I think, gallons in the freezer between the two different ways. But we use it completely raw. Have no need to pasteurize it. I really feel like it's healthier for our family. Plenty of people who have home goats for their milk do pasteurize. We choose not to, but we also are completely herbal with our goats, and try to keep it as organic as possible by not giving them anything that we can't drink, stuff like that. But that's kind of how my morning goes with the goats. See you next time.